Still. Good evening, Gooners. How are we? Happy Wednesday. It's midweek. We all enjoying our break? I am. North London. I think everyone's still enjoying that moment. Good victory. 5 points back at the top. Some people have been telling me 2 because City have got a game in hand, but they haven't played that game in hand yet. Look, if you're new around here, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, get involved in the chat. All comments are welcome. It's a good little debate today. It's a good opportunity to kind of take a step back, look at what's in front of us. Big game of the weekend against Chelsea, a must-win game. If you're wondering where Wayne is still ill, so hopefully you're getting better, mate. It will be on the next show. Hopefully the Chelsea preview. He'll be back. But you've got me tonight. But yeah, get involved in the comments. Let's have a good old conversation tonight. There's a few topics to discuss. The first thing I want to discuss, right, and it's been in the news, and be interested to get your thoughts on it as well. Declan Rice, that abuse he got was out of order, from that fan, and I think that I've actually heard, fair play to some Tottenham supporters online. They've actually come out and said, look, that guy isn't a Tottenham supporter. He's not with us. But yeah, fancy holding up a picture of his missus, and yeah, come on, that was. But that's one of the questions I should ask you guys: is where's the line we draw in football before we start insulting people's families and all that stuff? But yeah, that's one thing I wanted to get off my chest. I look back on that. That was a bit scummy, to be fair. But look, Declan Rice has got to take that stuff on the chin. He's a millionaire, he's a footballer. I know. It wasn't nice, but yeah, just wanted to get my thoughts on that really. But it is what it is, isn't it? But yeah, he moves on. He got the last laugh. We walked away with a 4-1 victory. Any Spurs supporters tuning in, how you feeling? Panic stations must be going now. But yeah, look, I wanted to have a show today. Just to take a bit of a breather. There's a lot of football still to be played, 10 games to be precise. Doesn't get any easier the weekend. Chelsea at home, and then we go away to Brighton. We're going to have a look at the fixtures and compare them. In April we play City, and we want to be in a good position going into that game. That game is going to be a massive game. I think there's going to be a lot of Arsenal supporters, including myself, hiding under their seats watching that game. Because our record at Etihad isn't great, but if you're going to go and win the title, you've got to go away. It looks like that's going to be an ultimate decider. We play in the League Cup final in March, so that'll be the pre-showdown and the preview build-up to that big game. But yeah, look, it's there's a lot to get into on that. So one of the questions I sort of wrote down to myself. Let me know in the chat, guys, what you think. Please hit the like button, and good evening to you all who's tuned in. Are Arsenal showing champion mentality? Now, that question I asked myself: do we base that on the Spurs performance? We had to react to the Wolves game, and I read an interview with Declan Rice where he said that all the players felt sick after that result. Which is good. It means, that we're the mentality. That tells me there's a little bit of a mentality shift. They could have easily gone away to Tottenham and drew that game and didn't and not perform. But we did perform. We've done the right things. Scored 4 goals. Gyökeres, what a performance from him, by the way. That's he's got to give us a lot more of that. Same with Eza. You can't just turn up in North London derbies, which he seems to be doing 5 goals this season against Tottenham, which is absolutely nuts. But you've got to see a little bit more from the guy the rest of this season. We need him. but yeah, the big question remains now: does he? Because Havertz is probably going to be back for the Chelsea game. Do we keep Eza in that role? I'm sure we'll get into that when we do the preview later on this week. But yeah, look, how are we feeling, Gooners? I'm a bit more relaxed. You know, wait until the Chelsea game, but I'm a bit more relaxed for now. But there's loads to unravel. There's loads of games still to be played. It's not one yet. There's a lot of tension going into these games. But look, Chelsea at home the weekend. City have got Leeds. It's not an easy game for City. I know we beat them 4-0, but Leeds they're still fighting relegation, right? They've got to avoid that drop zone. So City ain't gonna have it their way at the Etihad, at Ellen Road. Sorry, at Ellen Road. So there's so many twists and turns coming our way. I can feel it. But one thing we do need to make sure is when we go to the Etihad, we're top of the league. I think that's the most important thing right now. But yeah, so that question for me, we showed mentality. We went away in a North London derby where the pressure was mounting us really high, and we come out with a 4-1 result. Spurs weren't great, I'll be honest with you, and I think Alf, when he gets a chance to give his reaction to that game, we'll probably admit that Spurs ain't been great. So yeah, it was there for the taking, but we still got to do our job. And I thought, that leads us well. There's I see a stat the other day. Bear with me, guys. That we have more home games than City in the next 5 fixtures. So, do you know what? Let's get into it. Bear with me. So, if you're looking at the next 5 fixtures, another question: who has the hardest running? So, I would say it's equal. Really, if I was to give you an answer on that, I'd probably say City have the easier running compared to us because they've got some winnable games in there. The only fixture that jumps out to me in that fixture list is potentially Leeds away and Chelsea away. I think they beat Forest at home and they beat West Ham away. On our side, we've got some tricky old fixtures to navigate in my and let me know in the comments, guys, how you feel about these fixtures. Who's got the hardest running? I think Chelsea at home, they're going to be up for that. They're going to want to dampen our title hopes. Brighton away, God, that fixture has been a right curveball over the years. I think we picked up some wins the last couple of seasons, but that's another potential banana skin for us. Everton at home. I think Everton, we can beat them at home, right? But I feel like, let me know what you guys think. I think sometimes we perform better away than we do at home because the expectation of the supporters now, there's going to be moans and groans when a misplaced pass is the pressure. We've got more home games in there than City, but at the same time, they're very high pressured home games because they're games that we should be winning. The one against Chelsea, I think, would be up for that. There'd be momentum from the Spurs game, another London derby that will go into that, right? And Brighton away, Brighton wouldn't beat Brentford away. The Premier League is a tough old. It's not an easy league. Any team can beat any team. You can't go. There's no guarantee of 3 points in the Premier League, no matter where you go, right? And these games, we've got to do our job, and it all comes down to the mentality. Do we have enough? Do we have the right mentality to get this over the line? You look at them on paper, and they look like winnable fixtures to me. Like Chelsea at home, that will send a message. But the problem we've got as well is City play before us again this weekend. They play Leeds Saturday evening, I believe. We've got to go there and get, we're probably going to be going into that home game with Chelsea 2 points, because I do think City will probably nick a result against Leeds. We've got to do our job. The pressure's going to be on. Every weekend, there's going to be higher intensity pressure on us. And I'd like to see Arteta use the squad a bit more. I don't think he has been really. Like, what I didn't get what I didn't get was, why didn't Norgard get a run in the team the weekend? Why didn't he get, why didn't you bring him on? He don't seem to want to use Norgard, or there's squad players there to use. Lewis Skelly, all right, I know he's not been fantastic, but surely he could do a job in midfield if we need him to. He doesn't seem to. I mean, Zubimendi looks burnt out. I think Rice is carrying that midfield. Yes, he made a mistake. He made a big mistake. Sorry, guys, my phone's on loud. He made a huge mistake, but his second half was unreal, and it does make me think, because Odegaard come on and he set up Gyökeres for I think the first time this season. By the way, he assisted Gyökeres, but I don't think Odegaard is our captain to get us over the line. I think, all right, yes, Rice is probably. I've seen the memes going about Rice where he's giving it all that and focus, and then he goes and gives the ball away and Tottenham score. But that he's there, he's in there. He held his hands up, then goes and puts in a second half performance where no one got near him at times. So I think he's definitely our leader. Right, and the question I need to I'll ask you guys: is Odegaard going to get us to a title? I don't think he is. Therefore, I know that Arteta would never change captain in the season, but from what I've seen, I think Rice has got to be it next season. He's got to be it next season. And do you know what? Someone actually wrote, while we're talking about Rice, someone actually wrote, who was it that said it? It was an ex-Arsenal player that said, Saka's just signed a contract for 300 grand a week, right? You're Declan Rice, and Declan Rice, let's be honest, right? Let's be honest. Let me know if you disagree with me, guys. Declan Rice has had a better season than Saka. He's been more consistent than Saka. Now, I can't remember who said it. I'll have to find out, but I can't remember who said it. It was on TalkSport, I believe. Dev Turner said, if you're Declan Rice, you're looking around going, hang on a minute, why is Saka now the highest paid player at the club when I'm putting in 8 or 9 out of 10 performances week in, week out? Now, you have to take that as a very interesting point, because I think Rice has been our best performer this season. He's been our most consistent performer. And in a team we've not really, let's be honest with you, we haven't really hit the height. Some of our players haven't hit the heights that we wanted them to hit this season. Saka's nowhere near the form that he should be compared to the last 3 seasons. And Madueke's, yes, he's doing okay, but the stats on the board aren't there. Gyökeres, he got his 10th goal, he's in double figures now. And by the way, with Gyökeres, he's on the same figures as Ekitike at Liverpool now. So that comparison isn't a thing now. Where I was going, and Ekitike is a better striker than Gyökeres. I think that's proven the point. They're both on 10 goals. So I think he's going to work out to be an okay buy. There's still a lot that we need to see from Gyökeres, but I think he's been okay. Now I'll get rid of that. But yeah, there's a lot to dive into. We're still firing all 4 fronts. Guys, let me know in the chat who's been your best player this season, and who do you think? How do you think? Do you think Gyökeres deserves to have the stick removed now of him not being good enough, or do you think North London derby was a bit of a, Tottenham weren't that great? And because I think the problem that we've got, right, is we need our players to step up in the big games, and they've not been doing that. And what my worry would be is that I don't think City, by the way, are gonna win all their games. I think they're gonna drop points. Leeds away isn't easy. Even West Ham away. West Ham are doing okay. They're fighting relegation, and there's a big old scrap down there. I think at the end of the season, playing teams in relegation isn't an easy game, because they're literally they're hunting down every ball. They're scrapping for every little thing, right? And I think City, playing Leeds away, then got Forest at home, then West Ham away. On paper, you'd say, all right, they should be smashing them. But I don't think that's going to be an easy running for them. I think they probably will struggle with the 2 away games. For some reason, the difference with them though compared to us is they're getting it over the line when it matters, and we just need to match that. We need to match that. And away to home to Chelsea is where it starts. I think I was happy, we won the North London derby. I think every Gooner loves winning the North London derby, and in the fashion that we won it. There's been a lot of controversy about the push on Gab, or so I say push on Gabriel. If I'm giving my opinion on that, I think it was soft, but I'm also, if I'm being if I'm taking a step back as a non-Arsenal supporter, the refs across the league are not consistent, right? So yes, we'll take it, but we've also had them go against us this season. I'll take you back to St James's Park where Gabs was pushed a lot. I'd say it was soft, but the goal was given. Maybe Gabs should stop fucking diving. That'd be a good idea. Maybe he should stand his ground a bit more, But it was a dive. I'll be honest, we did get away with that, and that would have changed the complex of the game. So we rode our luck there. Got out of there with 3 points, and the reaction from the players was good. Arteta, I don't think I've ever seen him so pumped up towards the crowd. So you can tell that they've seen the social media stuff. They've seen the bottle and tag, right? And that tag is literally waiting in the wings to be thrown back at us if we're not careful. There's a lot to think. Look, I think one thing that we need to discuss as well is our injuries are nuts. Like Havertz come back, now he's out. He was supposed to be back for Tottenham. Had a bit of a setback. Ben White's got another niggle. What do we do with these guys? If Havertz I know Havertz is a good player, don't get me wrong, but is there certain points where we go, do you know what, we can't keep, because if Havertz doesn't come back fully fit, then I think in the summer we replace him. Same with Ben White. I think Ben White's going to move on in the summer anyway. But there's a lot of injury-prone players in our team. Odegaard, also one of them. It might explain why he's not been up to scratch. But I also do think as well, the worst time in the Premier League campaign is when there's a World Cup coming. That's when we have problems, because players don't. I always feel like there's a 50-50 tackle that they don't always go into, in the worry that they might get injured or a long-term injury. There's a little bit of that going on as well. You watch in April, it will be even worse. There'll be players that will be pulling out for little niggles and all that sort of stuff, which is not what we want to see in a title race. But yeah, there's a few of you watching, guys. Let me know your thoughts on how you're feeling this week. North London derby with 3 points on the board, with 5 points. 2, if people count the game in hand, they're assuming City's going to win their game in hand, which I think is absolutely mental. But yeah, look, do you think, are you comfortable? Do you think we're going to win our next 5 games or 4 games? Got City in April. God, that's going to be a hard game to watch. I'm getting nervous thinking about it. It's just our record at the Etihad. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember, we went to the Etihad and it all got built up. And I think in the first 5 minutes, I think De Bruyne just scored that goal. Ball over the top. And everyone's just sitting there going, oh, here we go again. So, I think we're going to have moments where, as a fan base, we're going to be tested a lot during these next couple of weeks. The bottle card's going to come out, because Chelsea at home isn't an easy game. I think we beat Chelsea, by the way. I think that we take a lot of momentum. Like Gyökeres scoring 2 goals, Eza scoring 2 goals, can't do them any harm, right? And let's hope they've picked up a little bit of form at the right time. I just think I think they're starting to play to Gyökeres' strengths, but I don't think there's moments in the game where he should be doing a bit more in terms of holding the ball up and bringing players into the game. Again, second half, we completely different performance. We dominated the whole game, but the first half it was a little bit lackluster. But I generally think that going into our next couple of games, we've had a little bit of a momentum bounce. So let's hope it swings in the other way. My worry is if we get another setback, how are we going to deal with that? Because we bounced back. North London Derby was probably the best game to have as a bounce back game, because you get up for games like that naturally, because it's one of the biggest fixtures for the fans. But you know, there's winnable games on paper there. I think Chelsea at home, I don't think we can even afford a draw in that game. So there's a lot of pressure on us, and Chelsea will know that. Brighton away, that game worries me as well. We should, on paper, we should be winning these games, but in reality, it's a completely different thing. So yeah. Also, the Champions League. Bayer Leverkusen, Atlanta, I can't remember the other team. They're the teams that we might get. How are you guys feeling about that? I think that we could have another good run in the Champions League if we manage our squad better. But yeah, I think Champions League, I think you'll probably find that players like Martinelli, Odegaard even would be more, I think we're more comfortable in the Champions League than we are in the Premier League, because the Premier League is so defensive. Like, this is my worry. As the Tottenham game, we had so much space. Eza had space. Gyökeres had space. Games like Chelsea, Brighton, Everton, even Bournemouth, you're not going to have that space, even at home. They let you have the ball, but this low block situation is going to be a problem. And we need our big boys to step up. We need our big players to step up. Can't just do it, against teams that are down in the mud. Let's be honest, Spurs are down in the mud. They're not in great form. And that game, you can tell as soon as we scored that second goal, they didn't, Tottenham were gone. Teams like Chelsea, Chelsea are going to be up for that. We knocked them out of the League Cup a couple of weeks ago in dramatic fashion. They're going to be up for that. The fans are going to be up for that. Also, every team that we play now are going to want to dampen our title spirits. So it's, how do we deal with that stuff? We've got to be mentally strong. Yeah. Now, guys, let me know in the comments. Get involved in the chat. How are you feeling? How are you feeling about the next couple of fixtures coming up? Chelsea at home the weekend. Do you think Eza can keep up the good performances that he put in against Tottenham? Let me know in the chat. How you guys feeling? Please smash a like on the as well as you're listening in. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the next 5 games. The 5th game I'm not looking forward to, away to City. But I hope that City can drop points away to Leeds. They definitely can. But it depends what Leeds turn up, because I thought when we was going to Ellen Road, I thought we'd have a tough game, but we beat them 4-0 very comfortably. So it all depends what City turns up. And then Forest at home, I think they win that. West Ham away and Chelsea away. I think they're the 2 games, because we've got Everton and Bournemouth. They're the 2 games for City, I think, where I think West Ham will be up for that. I think they beat them, City. But I think West Ham are fighting relegation. They've hit a bit of form. They've got some good new signings, and they've picked up a little bit of form. And I think this season, City haven't travelled well to London. I think they've struggled in London. Brentford, Fulham, them sort of games. I think they managed to nick one. I think they drew one. So they don't travel well to London. They haven't beat us at the Emirates. They drew 1-1 with us. So look, let's hope that we've got to do our job, though. I think Arteta will probably be saying to them, don't worry about who City are playing, worry about who you're playing. I think we should be doing the same. And I think at the Emirates, we need to make that. The next, we got 3 games out of 5. Obviously, City away, I'm not counting that. So if you say, look, the next 4 games, they've got 3 home games and Brighton away. I find it really hard to get tickets, guys. I find it really hard. I'm a red membership. If anyone wants to give me a ticket, let me know in the chat. But look, I think that whoever's listening in and you're going to the games, we need to make it such a hard place for teams to come. The atmosphere needs to be rocking. We need to get behind the boys and help them get over the line. Because I think we're as much as part of this title race as the team are, and I think the players need that push now. And I think that North London derby, I think that was like the Arsenal fans, would have loved that. And I think that spirits will be high going into the Chelsea game. But one thing we've got to stop doing is we've got to stop killing ourselves. We're killing ourselves at the moment. Every single goal we've conceded has been self-inflicted. Look at the Wolves game. The first goal Wolves scored, we've let the player step inside. Now, I said on the watch along, if you're letting a player, professional footballer, Premier League, I don't care who they play for, right, in the Premier League, if you give them time to line a shot up, 9 times out of 10 they score. They train on that every day. That Wolves player, we've let him step inside on his left foot, top corner. As soon as he stepped inside, red flags. Don't get me wrong, Raya probably should have done a little bit better, but then they can't. I think Raya's got the same sort of credit as Declan Rice at the moment. He's pulled off some unreal saves, and I think he's one of the best goalkeepers in Europe right now. I think Donnarumma tops him slightly, but yeah, I think that Wolves game we're sort of beating ourselves. And I think in games we get a little bit too comfortable, but I also think that Arteta's running our players into the ground a little bit. He needs to make some changes. There's a squad there. Use it. Use the squad. If you don't use the squad, then how do you expect to? That's going to be our downfall as well. I think if we don't utilise the squad that he's bought, Norgard has had 36 minutes in the Premier League. 36 minutes. He was Brentford's captain. And every time I've seen him play, look, he don't blast all away like Declan Rice does, or maybe Zoumeni does, but he does a job. He does a job. And every time I've seen him play, he's done the job. He's a tidy footballer. He's a mature footballer. He's got experience in the Premier League. He's captained the side, and Brentford aren't no mugs. They've finished mid-table comfortably season. So he knows how to navigate the Premier League. Right, yeah, he's a bit older now, and he's probably a bit slower. But in certain games of low blocks, I know it was only Wigan, but I was absolutely amazed of the discipline that he showed, where he just sat in front of the back four. Why can't we deploy that in some games? Why can't we just, maybe let Zubimendi sit out on the bench, or do the opposite, or start off 60 minutes, bring Norgard on. Even if it's 0-0 and it's not working, take off Zubimendi, put Norgard in front of the back four. Let Rice, let the number 8 role go. Let number 10 or let our attack just go. Take that risk. Arteta doesn't take that risk. And believe you me, right? Chelsea might not do it. I'll be shocked if they do a low block on Sunday, because they've got their own Champions League spots to fight for. Brighton away, you'll see a low block. You'll see a low block of Brighton. Everton, definitely, you'll see a low. Malcolm, if you're watching, mate, hello, buddy. Bournemouth, you'll probably see a low block. That's how, because away from home. Do we see it City? When we go to City, are they going to low block us like they did at the Emirates? That'd be interesting. Because I do think we can beat them. If we go toe to toe with them, I think we beat them. I really do. Guardiola's always got something up his sleeve, and Arteta's never ready for it. That's my worry with that fixture. That's why I want to go into that game with a cushion. 2 points, not good enough. We need to go into that game 5 points clear. 5 points clear. So if we lose it, we don't want to lose it. Or if we draw it, it's not the end of the world. We take a point and move on to the next batch of fixtures, the next 5 fixtures. If we go away and lose that, it could be detrimental to the rest of the season. But I don't think that City are going to maintain this. I do actually. Wayne keeps saying it to me, guys. I don't think City are gonna maintain the run that we all used. I think everyone's sort of getting a little bit worried because City are. I think as long as they're chasing us, I think they will drop points. If they go above us, they've got the experience to keep momentum, and I don't think we catch them. But if we can stay above them, I think that we'll have enough. It's that turning point for me is if they go above us. That'll be the worry. That'll be the worry. But yeah. So look, let me know in the comments, guys, what you think about how's your week been? What do you think of the comments about Rice? Do you think Gyökeres is now, does he deserve any more criticism? Is the tag that he got given, was he good enough? 10 goals. I think he finishes on 15 in the season, maybe 20 in all competitions. I don't know. It's the big games that he needs to do it in. Charles, good evening, sir. How do we close out these errors? Somehow they lead to high quality shots or goals. Keep going the other way and score. Yeah, that's the thing. I think the risk side of things from Arteta, does he let the handbrake off for these sort of games? Chelsea at home, it'd probably be the same team that started against Spurs. CJ, mate, how are you, mate? Good evening. Look, I think Chelsea don't play a low block. They don't play a low block, right? That's a game. For a neutral, that's always been quite an entertaining fixture. By the way, hopefully Havertz is back for that. But then Eze needs to step up. If Eze has the performance he's had against Tottenham, come in and do that again. That's why I think we get frustrated with Eze, because he's literally blown Tottenham away, and he'll probably start a Chelsea game and have an absolute stinker. That's why the frustration's there with him. Same with York, right? York will probably do fuck all against Chelsea. Let's hope that I'm wrong, right? He'll probably have a stinker again. This is why you can't just do it when you on the off chance. You've got to be consistent. I'm not going to say York and Eze. I think Saka played well, by the way, against Tottenham, but he's had a poor season for his standards. Martinelli, so inconsistent. We've got no consistent. The only consistent players we've got are Raya and Rice. Let me know if you disagree with that. I think Raya and Rice have been our most consistent players. Even Saliba and Gabriel have been a little bit shaky since coming back from the Christmas break, or getting over the Christmas period. They didn't have a break. We had a break, but I don't think we've had consistency, which makes me wonder. Like, I think this blip was always going to come, by the way. I think that we was always going to go for a blip because we couldn't carry on playing the way we was playing and nicking results. Like, look at the corners. The corners have dried up. When's the last time we scored from the corner? All right, yeah, we scored against Tottenham, but that was it wasn't really from a corner. It was like the afterplay from a set piece. But I think a lot of clubs now are sort of studying our corners, and I don't know if you guys have noticed, we've not picked up much from our corners, and I think we was very reliant on our corners. That's why I think we got tripped up at Brentford, and same with Wolves. They defended our corners really well. So yeah, look, we need to do a lot more from open play, and Tottenham was really good to see. It was a intricate passing, it was one-touch football, moving the ball quickly. The second half, I want to see that in the first half come Sunday. That second half performance was probably the best I've seen us play in ages. Right? I think we've played well. We're top of the league for a reason, right? And I don't buy into this whole, this is the worst Premier League season for a while. I disagree with that. I think last season was shit. I think Liverpool won the league in a very, very rubbish league campaign because City weren't nowhere near it. I think we was close. We got all them injuries and just stepped away and didn't bother reinvesting. So I think this is actually from a neutral point of view. Like people said to me, from a neutral, this is a really good title race. Obviously, as an Arsenal supporter, I'd rather it not be any competitive title race because I don't trust our mentality right now. We've got a lot to do. 10 games. That's a lot of football. It's a lot of football. A lot of things can change. But we've got to do our job. We have to do our job. And yeah, I think I go back to Arteta. I think Arteta is going to be a massive part of this, and I think his stubbornness is going to be make or break. You can't go against Chelsea and nick a goal and then sit back because Chelsea have got the quality. We have Cole Palmer's picked up a little bit of form, although Cole Palmer tends to not like playing us for some reason, and I think maybe Fofana getting that red card will probably put a hole in their defence. So I want to see us play like we played in the second half against Tottenham. If we do that, then there's no reason why we don't beat Chelsea at home. We don't go away to Brighton, comfortably beat them, Everton at home, Bournemouth at home. They're all winnable games on paper. They're all winnable games on paper. You've got to go and do it. You've got to go and do it. If we don't, then look, if we can't look at City and go, I hope Leeds do us a favour the weekend. We hope Leeds help them drop points, but at the same time, we can't look at that and go, I hope we naturally we want them to drop points, but we can't be playing our football, have shocking results, and go, we need Forest to do us a favour. We can't do that. We've done it last season and didn't. Well, the season before it didn't work. We lost the title in the end because we took it out of our hands. It's in our hands. We've done our job against Tottenham. The pressure was so fucking high. It was so high. We've done it. Got through it. Now keep going. Chelsea at home, Brighton away, Everton. And I keep reading the fixtures out. I just want it. I keep doing it because I'm trying to look at it and go, well, we should be winning these. We should be winning these. And I'm trying to work out. I think it's probably hope, actually. I'm looking at City's fixtures and I'm going, Leeds away. That, they're fighting relegation. Surely City don't walk that. They probably will. Not Forest at home. Relegation battle. Surely they don't walk that. Probably will. We've got to go into all our games, right, in the assumption that City are going to walk theirs. We've got a good enough team. We've got a good enough team to blow any team away, right? But Arteta's got to come up with something to deal with this low block. If he doesn't, I don't think we win the title. I'm going to put it out there. If he doesn't deal with how teams low block us, right, and we can't rely on corners with a low block team, he's got to have a plan B. Now, the plan B I thought was going to be Saka through the middle in number 10. It still could be a possibility. But I think the biggest key for us this season is having Havertz fully fit. He was the only person in that number 10 role that was linking play up really well. And I hate to say it, and it really pains me to say this because I actually like the player. I don't think Odegaard is our guy at the moment, even with the armband. I don't think he's our guy. I really don't. And I really hate saying this, guys, but I think Odegaard not being in the team, we play better. There's more fluid. I think Odegaard slows us down. You've got, and I think the problem that you had was we didn't really have ball playing midfielders when Odegaard first came in. Yeah, Xhaka was good on the ball, but he wasn't a ball playing midfielder really. He was a deep line playmaker in terms of he could play a good pass, but you got Deckers and you've got Zubimendi that are ball playing midfielders to the point they can open up defenses as well as keep the ball. And I think Odegaard doesn't know where he fits into this team right now. Whereas Ezra's not been great. He was blinding against Tottenham. His 2 best games have come against Tottenham, 5 goals, and he was unplayable. Yeah, on Sunday. I just don't trust that he's going to continue that, and I think that's been the problem. That has been the problem. I hope he proves me wrong. By the way, I hope every player that I criticise proves me wrong, but I think Havertz is going to be the key to us winning this title, if I'm being completely honest. So, yeah. Cool. I think I'll leave it there. I think I've been talking and waffling for 40 minutes. That's what happens when Wayne's not on the channel. I have to take over the waffle. Wayne normally covers most of the talking, so I've had to talk today, and not to sit here listening. So, but look, it was good. Look, let me know your thoughts, guys. We're going to be doing a preview on Saturday, I believe. Hopefully Wayne's better by then to join. Yeah, we'll be doing a preview on the Saturday of the Chelsea game. The watch along on Sunday. It'll probably be myself that'll be doing that. So please tune in for that, guys. Look, put your headphones in. If you don't listen to Gary Neville, come listen to me, fellow Gooner, watching the game. Hopefully a calm head. Well, just don't watch my Wolves watch along because yeah, there's a little bit of a meltdown for me. But to be fair, the meltdown weren't as bad as other people across the YouTube network that I see. So, but I think it'll be fair to say that a lot of Arsenal supporters had a big meltdown with that Wolves game. But yeah, look, thank you for jumping on and listening to me. Sorry if I'm waffling and talking crap, but hopefully you can resonate with it. And if you agree with me, disagree with me, let me know in the comments. Come and join me on Saturday. Hopefully Wayne's around to do the Chelsea preview, predicted 11, which is going to be interesting because if Havertz is fit, do we start Havertz or do we start Eze or do we start Odegaard? But I do think the key for Arteta for these next batch of fixtures, he's going to have to start using the squad. Champions League comes back into play. FA Cup comes back into play. And we got away with one in the FA Cup, although away to Macclesfield, I believe it is, isn't an easy fixture. Then the FA Cup ties can be quite draining as well. But obviously we could have got worse, so I don't really blame it. But yeah, look, guys, smash the like button, subscribe if you're new around here, and join me on the preview on Saturday. Look out for the thumbnail. Take care, guys. Have a good evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. See you soon.